The Billionaire Escort, written by J.N., narrated by Lyle Letterman and Celia Stone. Chapter 1, Lonely. I was sat in a club, talking to the wife of my brother-in-law, Lexi, her eyes sad as she continued to drunkenly share with me. So, I have feelings for a guy at work and really want to leave Alex, Helena. It's just not working, she said, looking sad, as if she was a wounded, innocent party. I know, however, her husband adored her and their children, and this was just another passing fancy on her part. However, I did know how she felt. Although I did not have feelings for any other male, my marriage had taken a nosedive. So much so, I could hardly stand to be in the same room as my husband. Cameron was something else. He refused to interact with our two children, only 3 and 17 months. I was left feeling worthless, unwanted, and embarrassed by my husband's lack of enthusiasm towards me and our kids. And Helena, if I was you, I would leave Cameron as well. I don't know how you even put up with him. Lexi continued. I did not answer her. I put up with him, and even though I knew it was a mistake, I was still married and a mother. Maybe this was all my fault. I did not love my husband, being only a teenager when we married. I realize now that I was more in love with the idea of love than actually experiencing it, and I jumped on the first proposal I got believing in a fairy tale. But here I am, 25 years old, stuck in a 6-year, loveless marriage to a man I did not like, nor who liked me, with 2 children, both toddlers. As I continued to listen to how hard it was for Lexi, I was shocked at her excuses for her to bed her new man. Alex treated her like a princess and their kids. If I had a quarter of the attention Alex bestowed on his wife, I would be a happy girl indeed. Maybe I needed to change. I let out an audible sigh, then made my decision. I would give this one last try to make my sham marriage work, for the sake of my kids. Hey Lexi, I'm heading home. See you Sunday, I said, then left the club. After grabbing a taxi, I headed back home. I hesitated as I put the key in the door. I took a deep breath of self-encouragement, then headed into the house and up to bed. Cameron lay curled up. Maybe if I showed him some attention, he would take some more pride in himself. So, taking another deep breath, I decided to try. I climbed into bed and made another attempt to fix my marriage. I reached over and placed my arm around him. Shifting in his sleep, Cameron turned to me and with a look of distaste and said to me,
Piss off.
Defeated, I turned over. I was trying my best. The next morning, my parents arrived, not quite as excited as the children were. Stephen was shouting, "Nana," at my mum, smiling his big, beautiful smile, as Robin danced into my father's arms. "Granddad," she said happily. We were all sat, happily chatting, other than Cameron, who just sat in his chair, smelling like death, and pushing away the children as they came near him with words like, "Ask your mother," or "Go see your Nana," totally disinterested in anything we were doing or saying. "Did you enjoy your night out last night, Helena?" My loving mother asked me, smiling, happy I had some time to myself.
She was drunk. Came back wanting me to give her one, so I told her to piss off.
I felt the burn in my cheeks. My mother glared at him. My father gave me a small smile as if to reassure me, but his eyes were full of loathing towards Cameron. I spent the rest of the afternoon in silent humiliation. I was so mortified by Cameron's words. It had been horrific enough to receive the rejection, let alone for my parents to hear about it. As they went to leave, I walked them to the door. My mum looked at me, then sighed. "Helena, I would do what he asked and piss off. You always have a home with us." And with that, they left. 4 weeks later, things had gone from bad to worse, and I took my mother's advice. I rose from my bed and went downstairs to the dining room, where Cameron sat before he left for work. Taking a deep breath, I said, "This is not working. We need to split, and you can go to your mother's." I tried to keep my voice low, not wanting an argument or to wake up the kids.
Why should I go? You go.
His voice, in its usual icy tone, indicating he had no intentions of even trying to make us work. Nothing else was said as he left the house to go to work. I did what he asked, though. I rang my parents, packed up my things along with the children's, and before Cameron returned from work, we left, never turning back. 3 years later. Kids, will you stop fighting over that infernal calculator? I mean, really, of all the things to fight over. I shouted. My son Stephen, age 6, and his sister Robin, age 5, were really going for it. I let out a sigh and went to my kids standing before them, hands on hips, and a face that said, "Do not mess with me." "Okay, enough, both of you. Time out." I placed both kids on their respective naughty chairs, then took a deep breath to calm myself down. Today was Wednesday, and on Friday, they would head off to my ex's mother and father for the rest of the holidays, giving me a week's break. Cameron, my ex-husband, never really saw them much, but his parents were fantastic. I could hardly complain. I had moved back here over 3 years ago, and given I was on my own with the kids, I had no friends, just a kindly neighbour with a boy the same age as Robin who would help out when she could. I had not had a night out for years now. My parents were still working abroad, and so I was eternally single, much to the amusement and pity of the extended members of my family. As I grabbed a few minutes of peace, my mind wandered to the conversations with my mum by phone this morning. "Helena, you do not have the kids. You should really go to Gabby and Carl's engagement party. You never go out. It will do you good." "Mum, please, I cannot stand being around all the comments, you know this. If I hear one more time, 'Do you not have a man friend yet?' I will scream. On top of that, there is the looks of pity which are worse than, and smirks from those who think themselves high and mighty because they're still married. Plus, I have better things to do with my money." This was not my first conversation like this with Mum. I knew she just wanted me to have some fun, to enjoy the freedom, but honestly, it caused me nothing but heartache, as I was made to feel less than human because I had the audacity to be still single. Never by my loving parents, but definitely by the extended family of aunts, uncles, and cousins. "Your dad said you have to go, Helena, and not to worry about what people think. We have put £300 in your bank. Go buy yourself some clothes, and do not spend it on the kids. They have enough. It is for you and only you. Then go out with your head held high." I knew I was fighting a losing battle. I protested. "Mum, I do not want your money. If I do not give it to you now, then you will get it when I'm dead. And yes, you do. When was the last time you spent anything on yourself?" Now there was a question. My wardrobe consisted of cheap leggings, a couple of t-shirts and jumpers, one dress, 2 pairs of tights, both with holes in the toes, and a black shirt and white shirt. Yeah, to get some new clothes would be good.
"Actually, we've put another 100 in. Get your hair done as well."
I heard my dad shout in the background. "That is too much money, please. I feel bad now." I protested again. I did not like taking from my parents, especially not for me, but I'd yet to find work. It was difficult having the kids and no childcare. However, I was hopeful for something soon. Now both were in school. I sighed in defeat. "Okay, thank you." I'm not wanting to be ungrateful, but I would have preferred to have been spending Saturday night on my own, with a cup of hot chocolate and Netflix. I guess I was going to the infernal engagement party on Saturday night, so I would shop for clothes and makeup then, and I had already booked a hair appointment at 9 a.m. on Saturday. Well, if I was going, at least I would look good. After a few more scuffles and adventurous bath time, the kids get in bed at last. I finally came downstairs and relaxed. I decided to go have a look at just what makeup I needed for this dreaded night out. Makeup, well, that was a luxury I could barely afford, and so very rarely wore anyway, and what little I had was scraping the bottom of the barrel. Sat down at my dressing table and looked into the mirror. My long brown wavy hair was frizzy at the moment due to running around all day, and I looked tired, my brown eyes surrounded by big black circles. I'd been known as the good-looking girl when I was younger, and in the cold light of day I had been. Not that I really thought much about it, but now I just looked depressed, stressed, and dowdy. I sighed. At only 27, I felt older than my age. However, I still had a youthful skin and was often taken for a little younger. Just as I thought, I needed everything from concealer to foundation, eyeshadow to lipstick. There was nothing of use in this drawer. Given my lovely, kind parents had given me £400 in total, imaging that if I ever had any spare cash to purchase a battery-operated boyfriend, I sat here, knowing that I had to go to the party, that infernal dread of the boyfriend or lack of conversation was playing around in my mind. I know people think they're being friendly, but honestly, it making me feel like I was worthless and unwanted. Did I regret leaving Cameron? Hell no. That was the best decision of my life, but was I lonely? Damn yes. I had to admit I was, but I had chosen my path, and this was it for me. My kids came first, and being single was not something I wanted to be concerned about or even reminded of. I headed into the bath for a long soak, trying to relax about this whole situation, but the boyfriend dread was never far from my mind, and it was really starting to upset me now. Why did I ever say I would go to this thing? Getting out of the bath, I headed online to look at some dress ideas for Saturday. I had no idea what was or was not fashionable at the moment, when suddenly a pop-up was in the corner of my screen. I went to click off it, but then I saw what it was. Rent a Date, the professional male escort company, with a picture of a young man looking all suave in a black suit and white shirt that stopped me in my tracks. As I looked, maybe it was the answer to my problem. Rent a boyfriend for this damn party. Oh, don't be stupid, I said, giving my head a shake, and clicked the X at the top to close it. Rather than it close, it expanded the pop-up and led me to a website. Just my luck, probably a damn virus, I thought. However, what I saw did catch my eye.
Are you feeling sick of explaining why you're single? Do you need a male escort for the night? We can help. For just £100, our professional escort will act as your partner and chase those single blues away.
I mean, really, my head was shouting yes to each question, but let's be honest. I was seriously thinking of hiring some gigolo to play pretend no. I was not that desperate just yet. I closed the site and, huffing, went to sleep. The Billionaire Escort, Chapter 2, The Accidental Click. Friday came around, and I had the kids all packed up and waiting for their grandfather to arrive. Tim arrived in good time and was happily telling me about Alex and Lexi and their kids. She never did leave him, and I'm unsure if she actually had that affair or not, but who am I to judge? I kissed and hugged my little ones, then popped them into the car seats, ready for their journey south. Is Cameron going to bother with them this week? I asked, after closing the car door so the little ears could not hear. I wanted to avoid slagging off their father in front of them.
No, Sally is fuming with him, but they'll have fun with us, Helena. See you in a week.
He smiled at me. Sally was Cameron's mother. She loved all her grandchildren and was disappointed at her son's lack of enthusiasm to spend time with them. Still, there was nothing I could do about it, and I had enough love for them. They were my world. Text me when you get there, please.
Sure.
I would worry myself stupid for the next hour until the kids arrived at his home in safety. I headed back into my small home and grabbed my purse and bag and headed off to the bus stop to go shopping. I was feeling a little excited. It had been so long since I shopped for myself. I had looked again at that website, I must own up. It was really tempting me, but £100? I need so much stuff and money to spend Saturday, I could not afford it, even if I am contemplating this. Shit. I am one desperate single bitch and need to get myself in hand. This is ridiculous. I am a sad, sad woman. I arrived in town and headed to the local department store. Now, how is that for a stroke of good luck? I went to the makeup counter. Total cost, £45. My hairstyle tomorrow was £35, and using £60 for spends on the night, hey, may as well have plenty of Bacardi to drown out the sounds of the pity boyfriend comments. That left me £260 for a dress and some nice undies and shoes. When I arrived at the clothing department, I saw the dress in front of me was stunning. It reached to the knees with a V-neck and was slimline. It had only been £40. I grabbed it and headed to the changing rooms. I am just 5'5", and even though I have 2 kids, I am still very slim. My only body worries were 2 areas: my non-existing bum and my small mummy tummy. But other than that, I had long, slim legs which perfectly suited the slim-fitting dress. As I pulled it on, yes, for once I felt pretty and nice. And then I headed over to the lingerie and shoes department, even the perfume section. I had lost count of how much I had spent now and was dreading the cashier telling me, in case I had to put something back. Thankfully, it came to only £159.70 in total. Damn, this sale is good. I headed back home with my purchases and checking my mobile to find Tim had texted and the kids were fine and happy. I was feeling really happy as I hung my perfect dress away, still not quite believing I had that, although other than this damn party, I would never go anywhere to wear it again, but hey, I still owned it. Once finished, I slumped down on the sofa. However, my mind wandered back to the party, back to the comments I knew I would receive, and the happiness I had felt was replaced with dread and wanting to stay home. Finishing a sandwich, I decided to look at how much I had actually spent. So I reached for the laptop and started to input the details into an Excel spreadsheet. As I did so, the screen popped up again, the same website taunting me. I sighed and closed it, continuing my task, but the damn thing was persistent as no sooner did I click it off, it reappeared, like a red rag to a bull. After the 3rd time of shutting it down, I shouted, "Okay, if I have £100 left over, I will hire a damn boyfriend for the night." I laughed at myself as I shouted it. It was getting beyond stupid. However, the pop-up stopped after counting all the costs. I was left with £101.83. I sat open-mouthed when again the pop-up arrived as if to torment me. Could I do this? Should I do this? Would I be in danger? Am I a sad act? Would they think I was paying for sex before I knew what I was doing? A form popped up. Gingerly, I filled it out. My name, telephone number, place to be picked up, and reason why I was using their service. I filled it in, explaining my predicament, not really thinking I would ever send it, then hesitatingly entered my card details and hovered over the icon that said, "Just one more click." This is stupid, sad, and pathetic. I am not doing this. Pulling myself together, I jerked my hand away from the mouse, but in my haste, I had clicked on the damn thing, and suddenly a confirmation email arrived in my inbox. Ugh! I had booked for one night rent-a-date, and Elliot would be my escort for the evening. He would pick me up at 7 p.m. tomorrow night from my home, his car a black BMW, and they gave me the reg number. Shit the bed. What had I done?
Cole's point of view. I'm slumped down in my chair in the main office. Finally, I was CEO of the company Masters Group, and my father handed over the reins a few months ago, deeming that at 32, I had grown up enough to take the helm, but since doing so, I had never been so busy in all my life. I had a crazy idea that I would work undercover for each of the companies that are within the group. I had started with a chain of bakeries I helped for 2 weeks before leaving with the information I needed. I wanted to crunch numbers, something I was actually good at. Suddenly, my email pinged. Oh, great, another job, because for the last week I was an escort. Yeah, my father in his infinite wisdom had opened up a male escort agency, aimed at single ladies stuck for dates for events. I had been there just over a week, and, well, all I can say is, it is not as easy as it looks. Fighting off the advances and offers of extra money from the older lady looking more for a good time in the bedroom than what the company provides, and having to explain we do not offer that type of service was more than a little tiring and humiliating. However, it had brought into light the fact that one of the managers who looked after the operations had their own side business of extras going on and had offered me the unique chance to earn extra money on the side. It was laughable given I'm a billionaire and do not like this little business at all, and for the life of me could not understand why my father had opened it. But for that manager to make it a male brothel was even worse. Once the big reveal happens, he will be removed, instantly, along with the men who took part in such activities. I really wanted to shut the company down, but it was, as they say, a nice little earner. I looked at the email. It was for tomorrow night. The only good thing about operating undercover for this company was the fact that it was mainly night work, or weekends for weddings and the like, which meant I could still be in the office doing the day job of running the whole group of companies. Opening it, I read the information the client had sent over. Her name was Helena. She was 27, a single mother. She had put, fed up with being the sad single lady who everyone feels sorry for, so becoming even sadder by hiring a pretend boyfriend to shut the judgmental twats up for once. Oh, and no funny business. I may be desperate, but not that desperate. It made me chuckle and wonder if she actually meant to write all that. Maybe this fake date would not be as painful as the last few, where I had to avoid the clutches of cougars desperate for me to do the funny business Helena was referring to. Smiling, I entered her details and phone number into my phone and continued my work.
Hello?
Zara, did you get me that file? I shouted through to my PA. She was 45, normally efficient, but was overworked given I had taken on so much. She needed help, but was refusing, feeling that it was a slight on her professional skills. Plus, she was single and, well, seemed to like having her boss man to herself if I'm being honest. Not to sound proud or conceited, but being rich, young, and good-looking, well, according to my mom anyway, having female attention and jealousy around me was not uncommon.
Doing it now.
Zara shouted through, which meant she had still not got it. Like it or not, she was going to get some help. At the end of the day, pride had no place when efficiency is being compromised. After another few grueling hours of work and spreadsheets, I left for the evening, going to pick up a 67-year-old grandmother called Scarlett, who needed a date to show off in front of her ex-husband, who apparently traded her in for a younger model 6 months ago. It is now 2 a.m., and I finally climbed into bed. And Scarlett was not your harmless granny, oh god no. She had spent most of the night trying to grab my nads and placing gross sloppy kisses on my cheeks and whispering sweet nothings that were far from sweet into my poor ears. The woman was shameless and even grabbed my ass during a polite slow dance. That is it. I am done and not going to do any more of these. That company is getting damn well closed down.